Hello, today I'll be reviewing Sniper Ghost Warrior.
Sniper Ghost Warrior is a name that might bring back bad memories for Xbox 360 gamers unfortunate enough to have played it. And to make a crappy story short, it was pretty terrible. But to the game's credit, Sniper Ghost Warrior has actually seen some improvements. The visuals and mechanics have been improved, and the bad parts have been removed. Or at least that's what the publisher says. If you ask me, if they wanted to remove the bad parts, there'd be no game left to release.
Ghost Warrior is a standard first-person shooter by City Interactive. This edition of the Sniper franchise is running on the Chrome Engine 4 in 2010, so I think it's safe to say that the developers at City Interactive obviously aren't reaching for any stars.
Sniper Ghost Warrior was their first quote-unquote big-budget game.
To start with the good,
you're given the option to skip to the dumb training level that Ghost Warrior starts off with.
The problem is, that's about the only thing Sniper Ghost Warrior gets right. Most of the problems holding this game back are on the technical side. The frame rate drops almost as frequently as the screen tears.
Things will flicker in and out. Things constantly pop in or pop out. There's the issue of everything looking kind of plasticky. Certain buildings are floating.
The game looks and feels old. The textures are low grade, the game relies heavily on bloom for its lighting, and the animations are weak.
Very sluggish and awkward.
The foliage looks pretty standard and okay from a distance, but get up close and personal, which you'll be doing a lot of, and it looks awful.
Textures tend to be very, very muddy, and the colors are really washed out.
Visually, this game is pretty damn horrible. I mean, the Chrome engine was never all that good to begin with, but here it just looks like the screen is covered in cigar smoke. It's all hazy.
The game's appearance really suffers overall. Extra development time would have fixed some of those problems. I guess maybe they were hiding in the bush or something. Regardless, Sniper Ghost Warrior isn't much better, and in fact, if anything, it's probably worse. Mission very much not accomplished.
The plot is also nothing new. Some third world general is doing bad things and making dirty deals, and you're sent in to clean up the situation. The rest is a bit hazy, as the only explanation of what's going on happens briefly in the loading screens. This game is pretty mindless, to say the least. One particularly frustrating moment happens in the first level, when you take a shot at the general himself, and miss. Take a look at this. Wait, what? This is one of those, no matter what you do, you're going to fuck up and the general's going to get away to progress the storyline scenarios. And in this case, it just doesn't work.
Sniper also has these start and stop load times that really break up the game. It's a problem you might recognize from Call of Juarez Bound in Blood, and that's because Sniper uses the same engine. The difference is, Bound in Blood doesn't suck.
A spotter for one level, which was my favorite level. And actually, the developers had said before the game release that they decided not to do a co-op feature because they felt that two players wouldn't want to get together and one have to be the spotter. Well, I'll tell you what, based on that one level, I would have been the spotter. I would have volunteered. You're going to hear the same banter over and over again from AI people.
It did get really tiresome hearing the same, basically 3 conversations. And generic modern military shooter music. You can't tell where enemies are because the environment itself often obscures your vision.
It's very rushed. The writing is absolutely awful, and so is the voice acting. Even the name of the game sounds like something that 4chan would make up to make fun of, say, Rainbow Six.
Fortunately, things are better in terms of the gameplay, although not by much. You have to sneak through the levels, locate checkpoints, and take down targets along the way. It's pretty straightforward, but that's the problem. It's a bit too straightforward. The levels are very linear, and your objectives are never quite as interesting as you'd hope they'd be.
Sniper Ghost Warrior has one redeeming quality: the sniping. It is fun if you let yourself forget about the awful game you're playing. If you're playing on medium difficulty, a little red dot will appear in your sight that's below and off center to help you line up where the bullet is actually going to hit. This is fun, because the bullet is affected by distance, wind, and other variables. And if you get a headshot at a pivotal plot moment, or from far enough away, the camera tracks the bullet all the way home in slow motion. It's really cool and can amount to a small amount of fun in an otherwise boring game muddled with bugs, cheesy dialogue, dated visuals, and bad storytelling.
and the slow motion kill scene even adds to the satisfaction. At least before it gets annoying. You can only watch a dude take a bullet in the neck so many times. Gameplay is thrown into level designs that never exploit the mechanic as well as they should. It feels very half-baked, and the poor graphics and technical problems really drive the point home.
The AI is horrible. You're going to run into a horde of enemies, aiming down their barrel, not really shooting in the wrong direction. For being incredibly stupid, the AI with their assault rifles have such awesome aim. They sure can kill you from a long distance with a simple assault rifle.
The enemy AI is extremely frustrating, as it seems their bullets travel in only one direction no matter where it looks like they might be firing. That's right, the enemies all auto-aim for you. Your allies, if you have any, never take any fire, and the moment you reveal yourself from cover, you're bound to get hit. This is a cheap way of making the game difficult. It's also a good way to aggravate the player.
Stealth was so inconsistent, there's just so many oddities with the way enemies behave. Like sometimes they'll just randomly turn around and spot you despite you being prone in the thick grass wearing a head-to-toe ghillie suit. But the moments when you're forced into combat are just completely abhorrent because of this really bad weapon recoil that doesn't affect enemies, who can fire full auto without ever missing a single shot.
What you find is the game is actually very unfairly difficult.
Most of the guns have little to no weight to them, especially the assault rifles. There isn't any kind of recoil in this game, at least not the kind real shooter fans would be used to. The rifles are just a little jittery whether you're firing them or not. This might be the studio's attempt at realism, but it doesn't come across very well. The sound design for these rifles is equally bad. The shots sound tinny and hollow, and paired with the weapon's overall lack of movement in your hands, you might wonder if you're actually firing a weapon or an airsoft gun.
It's got a length around 4 or 5 hours, which isn't long
For a $40 retail game,
Overall, this is a straight up awful game that you should not spend your money on. I award this game